back to my Mondo movie countdown, and number 19 is, drumroll, The Lost Boys, 1987, directed by Joel Schumacher. Some spoilers may occur, although I pretty promise that I'll do my best to avoid that. Thank you for joining me. This movie I saw when I was a kid, and I remember it caused a parental dispute between my parents because we went to my neighborhood Crazy Mike's VHS video store, and I saw the cover, and the cover art was great, and I wanted to watch this movie so bad. I just thought it looked really cool, and I was really young. I think I was 7 or 8 or something ridiculous, and my dad pretty much let me rent anything and let me rent it. And then I remember heated words between my parents in the kitchen because my mum thought that us kids were too young to watch it. And so that just made it all the more special, and we loved it because we weren't really supposed to watch it. And we watched it over and over again. It was one of those ones that we watched it when we were young and watched it right up until we were teenagers. It's got everything you want. It's got vampires. It's got a good sort of gothy, like, epic soundtrack. It's got the two Coreys, which obviously every kid from my generation loves. It also has, like, even though it's set in the 80s, and it is very 80s, it's got Doors music. Well, it's actually, I think it's, who is it covering the Doors? Anyways, it's somebody covering the Doors. But it's got, Echo and the Bunnymen covering the Doors. But it's got a 60s feel, even though it's 80s, and it's also got sort of like a Jim Morrison Acid Trip sort of gothy vibe. Also, it's got the saxophone dude. And anyone who saw this movie had like a little fissure ripped into their psyche at the saxophone man, because he is just greased up and just obscene. When you're a kid, it is obscene and fascinating to see the saxophone man. He was actually Tina Turner's saxophonist as well, which is kind of cool. But anyways, anyone who's seen the movie, I'm sure he stood out for you. It's got a really good twist end, and it's got comedy. And, you know, lots of horror movies have a specific type of camp comedy, but I don't know, it really works in this movie. What I like best in vampire movies, and what this movie has, is the testing. So when they're testing for the vampires, it's quite like a reinvented vampire movie, but they still have my favorite thing from old vampire movies, which is the sort of categorization and testing, like, do they pass the holy water test? Do they pass the mirror test? Do they pass the garlic test? And so it's got all those conventions as well. So basically they move to the family, I think it's the divorced mom, Diane Wiest, and they move to this new town, Santa Carla, which actually I think is Santa Cruz. And I've been to Santa Cruz, and it's got it's got the boardwalk carnival, sort of old fairground boardwalk, but it's got a lovely, like, a sort of sinister underfeeling, especially at night. Well, I found it to be that way. So I think that that's the setting for this movie, I'm pretty sure. They go to this town, and the older brother, Michael, he sees this beautiful girl called Star, and he is sort of, I think she's a bit like a honey trap, and he's ensnared by her, and so he starts hanging out with this, like, he gets wrapped up with this badass sort of biker gang, teenage rebels gang, and led by Kiefer Sutherland, and also Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is one of them as well. Alex Snow, I think his name is. And so they have, so he's ensnared with this, and obviously they're actually vampires, but there's this whole metaphor going on for, like, getting involved with druggies, I think. Anyways, and so the younger brother goes the opposite way, and he gets involved with the Frog Brothers, which is Corey Feldman and another guy, and they are vampire hunters. So the whole thing has a bit of a comic feel, kind of like a dark comic. And it is pulpy. It's got pulp aspects of, like, the biker gang, and they have a chicken race under a bridge of, like, who can fall off the bridge first, and he's trying to rescue the girl from the gang. So it feels like a lot. It's very anachronistic, and it feels to me like a lot of decades at once. It's got 80s gothiness and feel. It's got the 60s Doors and sort of like sort of a 60s acid trippy feel, and it's also got the 50s pulp, which I really like. Everyone in it is good actors. It's got this really intensely epic song called Cry Little Sister, which I think is the theme to the movie. And cry little sister, thou shalt know. Anyways, I'm not going to sing it for you, but it's really cheesy and it's really great and you feel it. And when me and my middle sister were kids, we had our baby sister, when she used to cry, we used to say, cry little sister. And that movie was just always in our psyches. Also, I want to say this film has lots of great visual imagery. There is a really amazing sort of vampire party squat cave. They've got really good aerial views over the fairgrounds. They've got a scene where like Chinese food turns to maggots. And so basically the older brother turns into a half vampire because he hasn't made his first kill. So if they find the leader and kill the leader, then all the half vampires will return to normal. So, you know, the younger brother Sam convinces the Frog Brothers that they don't need to kill his brother. He can save him and redeem him by finding the lead vampire. And then the movie becomes like this great plot line of like find and kill the leader through all the testing devices. And like I say, it's got a very cute twist ending. If you've liked my film reviews, then please subscribe.